It's January 15th, 2004, Waialae Country Club in Honolulu, Hawaii. A beautiful Hawaiian day when a 14-year-old steps up to the tee, becoming the youngest modern golfer to take part in a PGA event. Not only that, this golfer was a woman, becoming the youngest woman ever allowed to participate in a PGA Tour event, where Michelle Wie teed off and showed not only could she compete at the age of 14, she could also compete as a woman, breaking barriers and becoming a sensation in the world of golf, men or women. Today we're going to dive into this historic moment on the golf course and how Michelle Wie got there. Today on Daily Sports History. Welcome to Daily Sports History. I'm Ethan Reese, your guide, because I need to tee off from kid tees anytime I go golfing. Doesn't matter if it's men or women's. So Michelle Wie was born to Korean immigrants. Her father was a professor and a pilot and also was an avid golfer. And her mother was a semi-pro golfer as well. And they were Korean immigrants who raised her in Hawaii. By the age of 4, she was already using plastic clubs in the sand. And by 10, she had qualified for the U.S. Public Links. At the age of 13, she won that tournament, the youngest ever to do so, and beat professional women's golfers at the Samsung World Championship Pro-Am. Now, her father became her coach, and he loved golf, and he was rigorous. He really taught her mental toughness and how to swing the club. And one thing that everyone noticed about her was how far she hit the ball. They dubbed her the next Tiger Woods, because Tiger became popular when he was young and could drive the ball further than anyone else. Michelle Wie was young and driving the ball further than everyone else, regularly driving the ball over 300 yards. And she grew up actually pretty fast. By the age of 14, she was already almost 6 feet tall. So even though she may have been a minor, she was able to hold her own. And she had actually a lot of support. Ernie, one of the top players at the time, said give her a couple years, she can play on this tour. Vijay Singh, who was a detractor from Annika Sorenstam playing in the men's tournaments, actually was supportive. He said, you watch her swing, you say, that's normal. You don't even realize that she's 14. Now, many were kind of confused by this, as Annika Sorenstam, the best women's golfer at the time, in 2003, entered into a men's tournament. And really, they were like, why is this kid entering when the best in the world couldn't even beat the men? Well, she was given a sponsorship exemption. So when given that exemption, a sponsor allows any player to really play. They don't have to be part of the PGA or anything like that. It was really just because of money. And after this, she would be given millions of dollars, as she was the face of women's golf for years. So she comes in round 1, playing in her home state, and she grips and drives her first drive off the tee, as thousands packed the fairway. And she would start with a bogey on the first par 4. After her drive went into the rough, and then she went to the bunker and had to 2-putt. But she steadied herself on the second hole on a par 5 and showed that she was doing good, that she could actually compete. It wasn't just a fluke. Go on to par the next 3 and get another bogey. This was looking like a bad sign. Within the first 5 holes, she was 2 over, and it didn't look promising. But on hole 6, a par 4, she was able to get a birdie. Although she bogeyed the next hole, she finished out the front 9 with another birdie, making her +1 going into the back 9, where she struggled again on hole 13 and 14, although she did birdie the par 4 12. You add all this up, she ends up 2 over for her first round. It's not a bad round for a 14-year-old, let alone a girl who is 14 playing against men. I would love to shoot 2 over for a round, and it's just impressive. And she was out driving many of the men she was facing, which was the really impressive part. It was a struggle with accuracy and putting, which is something you learn over time. She had the distance. It was just the intangibles she needed to figure out. But many encouraged her after this round, and she came back after this not devastated, not down on herself. She came back motivated. And the next round was one of the greatest rounds a woman's had in a PGA event. She came out, and in the front 9, she came out even. She parred 7 of the front 9 with a bogey on her first hole and a birdie on another par 3. She dominated the par 3s throughout her whole entire tournament because she had a drive that outdid anyone else. She came out in the back 9 and got another birdie on a par 3 on hole 11, and then she bogeyed hole 13. So she's sitting 1 over heading into hole 16, and the cut line is 140. So what she has to do is go 3 under for the next 3 holes. She's not shown that she could do this, but she makes it her all to do so. She comes out, and on a par 4, hole 16, she gets a birdie. And on hole 17, a par 3, which she has dominated, she comes out and gets a par. This does not mean she's out of the works. Challenging 509-yard hole with a slight dogleg, but she has a chance, needing an eagle to make the cut. And in a par 5 is her best chance to get an eagle. Now, if you don't know, an eagle is 2 under par. So she needs to make this in 3 shots. So she hits it off the tee and goes over 280 plus yards, giving her a realistic shot to get on the green in 1 more shot with a chance to putt and to get an eagle. Her second shot gives her a chance. She gets onto the green with a chance to putt in, get an eagle, and make the cut, being the first woman to ever do so. With thousands of fans circling the green, she takes her shot. Sadly, it just slides a little bit past the hole, and she's able to easily tap it in to give her a birdie. 2 under for her second round, even for the entire tournament, but miss the cut. But she beat multiple men in this pursuit and made herself a household name. Even though she didn't make it the cut, she stayed around. She actually went into the booth for the commentators for the rest of the tournament and helped elaborate the challenges of this course. Now, she wasn't done. She kept golfing. She would go on to compete in 6 more PGA events, and she would go on to win 5 LPGA tournaments as well, including the 2014 US Women's Open. But she ended up having a lot of the similar issues to what people called her, as she was the future Tiger Woods. And Tiger Woods started to have back issues towards the end of his career, and she also had back issues. So she struggled with back issues throughout her whole playing career, and in 2023, she actually ended up retiring. She became a mother and wanted to focus on that and became an advocate, and changed her name after she got married to Michelle Wee West, after marrying Johnny West, who also works in sports, working with the Golden State Warriors. But she made a huge impact. PGA ratings went up 30% when we played, as many wanted to see her, as she did something that most women did not. She drove the ball, which everyone loves to see in golf, and it really inspired many kids, especially in Korea, to join golf. We've seen a lot of Korean golfers actually come up in recent years because of the influence of Michelle Wee and her culture. Now, she has not rolled out possibly coming back, as she is still pretty young, could make a comeback at any time, but she wants to focus on what she's doing now, as she loves being a mother and being an advocate for other kids to possibly play this game she grew up loving. And it doesn't matter how old you are, what your gender is. If you can play, you can play. And I applaud the PGA for allowing her to play in so many tournaments. Even though she never made the cut, she just needed 1 round to go right, and maybe she could have done something a little bit more. Sometimes it all comes down to luck, especially on the golf course. I know that better than anyone else. I want to thank you for listening to today's Daily Sports History. It means a lot to me, so if you could do me a favor and just rate and review wherever you're listening. It only takes a few minutes. If you can't do that, at least make sure you follow or subscribe wherever you're listening so you don't miss another episode. And we'll see you on the next one.